Once the first one's on, I can skip them out to you pretty easily.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Who wants to roll some I-joists? We do. So that is exactly what this video is about.
So right up to the line. And then if you make yours nice and flush with the backside of your wall. Yeah.
All right, so let's get into some of the methodology, like what in the world is going on here. Some of you know, some of you don't, so let's just explain it like none of us know. Okay, Noah is in the machine. He is gonna stay there and just boom material out to us because it's that easy. Kyle's on the other end. As we lay these flat, he's got nowhere to go. He's not gonna fall backwards and fall through the floor. We're under the 10-foot rule here. These are Roseburg I-Joists. There's going to be two different sizes throughout this particular floor plan. What we're placing right now, we're not even going to cut to length. These are 1 3/4 by 11 7/8 I-joists with LVL top flanges, 16 inches on center. You can see the framing where Kyle's at, the studs are 16, the back wall where I'm at 16, the wall in the foreground, 2 foot on center, and we raised our pony wall, or those side walls, to be even with the top of our rim. I'll get into that a little bit later. I think it'll just become kind of apparent. The advantage is we're already framing it, so why not just frame it to the full height? The disadvantage, you got to figure out a way to fire stop it. Easy way to do that is just take your rim, instead of putting it on top, put it on the side. Now we're fire stopped with an uninterrupted bay to make it easy to insulate. So that's just the way we do it. It's working out very well. You'll notice on the wall where I'm at, and remember, I'm the good-looking chubby guy in the high-vis yellow. I love it. If people disagree with me on Instagram, you want to know what they always say? Oh yeah, well, you're fat.
You're max.
It's like,
okay,
thank you.
boom in and come
I'm also
forward.
really strong sometimes. So while we're on the subject of giving compliments, anyway, you'll notice the snap line. I snapped a line on the wall, 1 5/8. The rim itself is LVL. I think Roseburg calls it rigid rim. It's 1.5 inches, but if you frame for any length of time, you know, especially in wintertime, things are always just a little bit swollen. So 1 5/8
Nice
gives me
and
just a
slow,
little
baby.
bit of slop or play, and that 1/8 of an inch is irrelevant. But it's going to work out just fine. I'll show you that in the next video, this whole process. Okay, so what we're doing right here is Noah's just booming us out these I-joists, none of which are cut to length. Kyle is making sure that they're flush with his heel, or the garage side of that 2x6 wall. And we are both making sure that the same edge of our flange is right over our layout marks, and I will show you why that is critical for this technique to work. And I have a feeling, I have a strong feeling that you've already figured it out. Because you're just smart like that.
I like to flip them to get rid of the sawdust.
I think I will do a future video on I-joists themselves. Why are they called I-joists? Well, they're joists in the shape of an eye, like an I-beam. It is literally, who's the ad wizard that came up with It's that simple.
Sorry.
What are some of the benefits? I'm not going to belabor this point in this video. They're manufactured in 60-foot lengths and cut down from there, so they are basically perfectly straight. They make a much better use of resources like wood, because we don't need all of that mass throughout the middle of the joist. That's the flange, and it is made of oriented strand board, or OSB. The top and bottom flanges can either be LVL or solid sawn and finger jointed lumber. They are extremely light. They tend to be a little bit more expensive than sawn lumber, at least in our area. So a 2x12 versus a 11 7/8 I-joist like this, it's I don't know, I'd have to price it like maybe 40% to double. Kind of depends on the series of joist and the stiffness. They also tend to be stiffer.
So
Some
probably two
people
more.
will make the comment that these are firemen killers. That is patently false. Now, obviously, they're going to burn faster than 2x12, but that does not make them firemen killers. And there are a lot of articles about this. They'll come up. It's always a news source that's looking for ratings. There's a lot of data that's credible if you needed to do the research for yourself. This floor will, of course, get drywall on the underside. And then, of course, we're taking all of the normal firestop by code, all of the requirements for firestop and fire block. So it becomes a non-issue in modern built houses. Timmy's getting off his soapbox now, but he will get back on that soapbox in the future. Trust me. And let's get into the time-saving technique. As I mentioned, we did not cut any of these to length. Instead, they're flush with where Kyle's at. Because they're parallel, they're right over layout, and our layout is correct. We did double check that. Then all I have to do is measure back again the rim. Now I've already snapped that line, but I have to snap a line on top of these. You'll see why that line is there when we get to the other joists. For this section of joists, I'm gonna go ahead and snap the line on top. And then, because why not cut our blocks now? Oh, now we're starting to gain efficiency. I can just measure off the block width, which is your standard spacing, 16 on center for us, minus the flange of the I-joist, minus the 16th. Because things grow, we need a little bit of play. Just a little bit of kid and play. If you're mentally picturing the jump that kid and play used to do, then you are at least as old as me. Congratulations. We're old. Okay, snap the second line. Now, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut these ends off. Those are going to be square because they were all parallel. Now we can avoid marking each one because the snap lines did that for us. I'm gonna set the depth on my saw. When I go to cut over the wall, I'm not gonna move the joist. I don't need to. And for this little section, I can just cut them in place. Yeah, I'm getting kind of old. Can you tell? Can you tell? Like I could tumble off that wall and just like fall like a sack of potatoes. I was gonna say sack of bricks. Have you ever seen a sack of bricks? Me neither. Sack of potatoes, but anyway, enough of that. Couple things to point out. One, we have the plank. Remember in the previous video, we set up the plank? The reason for that is because I knew we were going to do this. We can scatter joists more quickly. I can cut these in place more easily. Not to bend over as far, right? Because they're about waist height. We did our layout. Later, we're going to install the rim, roll the joists, nail the joists. So we're going to install the guardrails. So the 15 minutes that it took to set up 3 planks, we more than make up in safety and ease. All right, now you're noticing I'm using a cordless tool. If you're new to this channel, there is a whole cordless saw review. If you don't know anything about me, congratulations, there's really nothing to know, but I will just update you on one thing. I have written for the Journal of Light Construction since the summer of 2003. It was probably published later that year. Anyway, I've also been reviewing tools for them for coming up on 20 years. So I've got a whole review video on these rear handle cordless saws. This is the Metabo HPT. I absolutely love it. I've been using Diablo blades pretty much exclusively since I reviewed the rigid saw for JLC back in 2004. Probably published in 2005. Used to love that saw. That's a great saw. Anyway, just cut your way down. The pieces that are coming off, those are scrap. The next pieces, however, will be our blocking. And in 2 cuts, we never had to pull a tape on each of those joists. We got our blocks, never had to pull a tape on the blocks. We got our joist length, our block length, it's all cut, it's all square. It is a thing of beauty when it works right. When it doesn't work right, it can be pretty ugly. Do not ask me how I know that. It's because I've messed it up before. Now, you could absolutely just pull the joist out and cut the blocks off. I set the depth so it just barely scores the top plate. There's some reasons why you may not want to do that. You may not want to do that because it's possible you could hit a nail head. We tend to overdrive the nails a little bit, and I'm kind of checking for that as we scattered. Second, again, I'm not worried about scoring the top of the top plate. We don't need double top plates structurally since we stack everything. But additionally, I'm just like barely scraping it, right? I could probably, the mark is gonna look like I scored it with a knife. You may not wanna do that. Please don't judge me for doing that. Who cares? Also, I should have tried to kind of aim the blocks to all be exactly in the same spot, but we're talking like what? 20 to 25 foot section there. So it's easy for us just to pick up those blocks. Those blocks will go over walls. They're not mid-span blocking. So anyway, there's that.
I mean, that's easy. Nice. The trick is just to go faster than the guys. You guys are too fast.
Hold on, buddy.
Sorry. I was like, this one's way shorter.
Big Papa.
You like it?
Did you get it?
Of course I did. Come on, man. Come on. Are you sure these are the right ones?
I'm sorry for the audio on that, but I used the DJI mic, and I don't know if something came unplugged with the little lav mic, or what it was, interference. The GoPro on the tamper there at the bottom of the screen, that actually has the receiver for the mic. Whatever, it happened. So sorry again for the audio. Here's the disadvantage of the long joists. They can be a little hard to work with. At the same time, it's an advantage because we're only handling one piece. And as long as our layout's good, it's going to be perfectly straight right through there, right? So there's an advantage. We got single piece, and actually when you do analysis on multi-span, you get a little bit more stiffness out of that versus breaking them on walls. Anyway.
Yeah, so there should be 3 32-footers that will go over here. I'm going to go my way, Noah. Okay. Yeah, and that'll basically go right at the edge of the garage, but we'll have to flop it to get the rim in. I think so, yeah. And then which way, Kyle? I haven't kept track of.
The holes. This is bottom.
That's bottom. Okay, so we need to flip it over. Okay. Okay, so you're good right there, Noah?
Yeah.
All right, then go ahead and grab the next guy. Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead and push it there. I don't know that it will affect much. And this edge needs to be right on the layout mark.
Okay, I don't have one, so I'll describe one. I guess this one never described.
It would be right over the stud. Are you sure it's not there?
Yeah, there's nothing.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that didn't really move it at all. When you get a chance, Kyle, can you grab a I'll have you just pop the battery out of this thing. I'm gonna try to land it where it's not in the mud. So what you do is you press the battery button on the back once and then twice. The second time you hold it down and it will power down.
Pick it up?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just gonna give it to you.
Yeah. So basically it's
One.
press and hold.
And that turns it off.
Yep. And then if you just grab another battery.
Is that what's up on that charger?
Yeah. Okay, so that is going.
I suspect that there is more than one viewer who thinks, why in the world are you wasting your time with all this footage and blah, blah, blah. And I totally get it, right? Well, it's because we're not framers first anymore. Well, we are. We're builders first, content creators second. So what does that mean? Well, it's part of our business now to provide content creation, and we can partner with companies. So that's why I got Part 107 certified. That's why I've got all this equipment out here. That's why we document everything.
I have an idea. After that one, is it worth booming out and just putting them on the machine, or not worth it because there's only like 10 left? Okay. No. I better not get mud on my hands. Right there?
Now we are to a stiffer series of I-joists, and the reason is because from where I'm at to that intermediate wall, well, that's a pretty long span. 19 foot, I think is what I think it was 19 foot 10 outside to it, or outside to outside. Anyway, it's right there in the ballpark. So 2 3/8 inch LVL flanges. Basically what it does is it allows it to span farther without feeling bouncy. The middle section, well, I forgot the LVLs. It was a miscommunication between myself and the lumber yard, and so there's LVLs that run front to back, and then LVLs that go side to side that will define the stairway. I'm going to get into that here in just uno momento. This is the drone's eye view of the house front to back, right? Now it's a little bit easier to see. Bringing the I-joist down off of the hill. We're just kind of trying to use those I-joists to slide and just make it as easy as we can. But you're still going to sweat. Okay, so that is where we are going to leave this video. In the next video, we're going to roll these joists, install the rim, install those LVLs, and oh, did I get footage? I think I did. I hope I did. Well, I'll get some tomorrow, even if I didn't, from the inside to show how the rim goes up against those walls that were framed tall for firestop. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you following along. I think this is just kind of fun, especially when the sun is out. Anyway, please hit that like and subscribe button and hit the little bell notification. That way you don't miss any videos. Thank you.